Okay, Christ is risen through the prayers of Holy Fathers, through Jesus Christ, God of mercy on us, and save us. Amen. Oh boy. Okay, so as I think many of our viewers and listeners know, based on the amount of messaging that I have received, um, basically I took down my NFT's Twitter, which I will get into that in a bit and why I will probably put it back, and the NFT Discord. Um, I can understand it can be a source of frustration, especially for people who did try to work hard on it and create something that was useful there. But what I found was that I was kind of it was kind of working against kind of like it was kind of like pushing a rock up a hill that was getting heavier and heavier, and there was no end in sight. So I'm gonna get it first off. Let's do the easy one. The easy one is the Twitter account, and the reason for the Twitter account is very simple. Um, X, or Twitter, as you might call it, is a very tempting platform. It looks like there's a lot of engagement there, a lot of movement. Unfortunately, my feeling and discovery was that a lot of the engagement was porn bots, but I assumed that, or if I'm allowed to say that, but I assumed that, you know, there was at least some kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Potential with Twitter. For most of the time, NFTU had Twitter there. It's been around for about 11, 12 years. It was used to reproduce articles from the site. That function stopped working. Um, but we went from like 100 members to like five or 600 members in a year. And I was like, well, this is great. And for a second, I was even considering possibly signing up for the paid Twitter, so that because I started hearing people were earning from engagement, and I was like, well, that's awesome. I kind of want to try that, and I was this close to doing it. And then what ended up happening was somebody tweeted out something here, and I'll just share it. And when I saw that, that actually scared me. I thought about the fact that I had almost bought into the Twitter Deluxe or X Plus or whatever they want to call it. And but now apparently, if you're earning on Twitter, you have to have your ID verified. And the verification company is an Israeli verification company. It's a foreign government. And I'm thinking, wow, thousands of people will now have their IDs in the hands of a foreign government. And I was like, I don't want to put my ID in the hands of a foreign government. And the more I thought about it, the more mad it made me that people were literally going to be handing this over to get back basically their subscription money, maybe some more. I mean, we're not all Tucker Carlson, so I imagine that he probably gets a lot more money, and probably an exemption from the ID thing. But the simple reality is, for most people, they're going to have to put that in there, and if they're used to making money on the Twitter X, then that's what's going to happen. So, long story short, after seeing a tweet about this and talking about protesting to Elon and blah blah blah, and I was like, give me a break. This is something that's kind of been in the works for a year. It's just that it's finally happening now. But when it actually does happen, then you start to think about it differently. And I realized that didn't sound like what I wanted to do or I wanted to be a part of. That said, I have been advised internally I should probably keep the Twitter, so it'll probably go back, but it'll never be a paid account. I'm going to treat it with just about the same level of contempt I treat Facebook. And so, whatever. That's part of the reason why I can't list as anything but Deacon Joseph Sweden on Facebook, because they refuse to allow me to. So I'm going to just treat it as a hostile social media company. The Discord one is a little bit more problematic, and that has been building up for a few months. And what I mean by that is that we have socially especially increased. We've kind of built bigger and better echo chambers, and some technologies and companies feed off that. And what I mean by that is that there are subcultures in every kind of social. That part I'm not denying. The question is when you see things that make it less worth your while to operate. To give you an example, I could even take Facebook as a basic example. I see very little value in Facebook except for the people on it. And that is because people are on it because it's easy to use. They get trapped in it. Their friends are on it. They're never going to leave. Unfortunately, the problem with that is that these walled gardens become increasingly problematic, and Discord was just emblematic of it. Few people realize that this is not the first time I walked away from Discord. If you've known me for a few years, myself and Bishop Enoch were actually on Discord for a very short period, about 2.5-3 years ago. And being on Discord 2.5-3 years ago, we found it ate up all our time. Bishop Enoch was just frustrated beyond compare within a day, 2 days, and he was like, "I can't do this." And I stayed on a little bit longer, but eventually I realized it was a massive time sink. And so basically, even though I myself kind of left the Discord, a lot of people are using it, and I got invited back, and there was there was a debate channel. As you know, the Crucible has a Discord. Seems like everybody has a Discord. And the problem is that I don't want NFTU to become a part of Discord. I originally joined the Discord as a funnel to get people to look at NFTU. What I found is that the opposite was happening. This was becoming less. It was becoming like Discord was becoming a means on its own for its own purposes. And I realized that some people are going to be upset, and some people do have a right, like the people who uploaded PDFs and uploaded icons. Yeah. My issue is that I don't know that I wanted those in Discord's hands anyway, because as long as they were always tenuous. I've never been on a platform where I had to self-police. I mean, this might be the exception, but I don't know. We've said lots of things that are offensive and haven't been removed. I guess people can start looking for those now. But the point is that if your speech isn't free when you start, you're already in a bad place. If you have a blue-haired communist telling you what's okay to say right out of the gate, it's not a good place. I understand many people have their friends on it. And as I discovered after destroying the server, the Discord platform still works as a semi-decent messenger. Since I wasn't one of those, apparently there's like the little DM cult thing that goes on Discord. Like everyone just jumps on and DMs, and there's all sorts of DM massive craziness going on. I never really participated in that because I didn't understand how Discord works. I learned more over time. And what I learned was more and more disappointing as I went through it. So the more the more I learned about the entire ecosystem that's involved in Discord, which for some reason always involves asking me for money pretty quickly. I was kind of like already turned off. But there were other problems. The problem is that when you're dealing with a community within a community, and the simple reality is that the goals, I think, of any traditional Orthodox community are already hostile to the concepts behind the goals of Discord, which is basically a gamer platform, which is designed for you to stay 24/7 on it. DTC says wild. And Jay says the internet is not orthodox. No, the internet is not orthodox. Well, you see, that's my point. What we should be doing is building. And I think that the early internet was extremely helpful in getting me to orthodoxy. It was extremely helpful with anyone who was serious about research. What we want to avoid are time sinks, things that become themselves massive kind of wastes of time that you suddenly find, somebody that was it because of our behavior. I don't think it was, from a generic answer, no, I don't think so. But I think that, I hate to say it, the platform itself, I feel like, helps encourage sometimes our worst behaviors. And I don't know that that's necessarily a healthy thing. I'm not telling anyone to stop or to get off. I just don't trust it. And frankly, I've after watching, going on a year, where my time, the most productive time I had was when I literally shut off all notifications and I would disappear for 2 or 3 days. I get a whole bunch of things done. I'm like, how come this doesn't happen the second I turn this thing on? And I think people should ask that question, because apparently I'm not the only person who feels this way. I did a quick internet search about Discord and addiction, and you'd be surprised at the stuff you pull up. I mean, you could just find it all day long. It's pretty freaking scary. And I was like, there was enough stuff on Discord and addiction that I was like, wow. I mean, I could just put this up and be like, that's why. But it was part of why. It was a big part of why. So no, it wasn't because of your behavior in specific, HI. Your father, what do you think about the new Telegram channel? I don't have Telegram. I heard about it. Enjoy. I don't even know how Telegram works. The last time I think I tried Telegram, something bad happened, and we were like, no, we're not using Telegram. Yeah, so the time consumption, it is totally true. And yeah, I completely understand there's an echo chamber attitude in Discord, and that's why I've dropped it multiple times in the past. Also, it is a dopamine feedback loop, but also it was also a good resource. The biggest, saddest thing I heard, and I hate to say this, was somebody saying, what about the PDFs? And I forgot about the PDFs, and that really made me feel bad. That said, with the cafe, between the cafe, Facebook groups, Mega, the Orthodox Archive website, I mean, there's a lot of places that if we don't already have the documentation, we can just put the documentation back up. We need to get away from trying to make everything a convenient folder in my preferred space, because that is how we get to the problem. Companies like Discord, etc., I don't know if that's the name of their company, but the company itself banks on humans looking for simplification, looking for gamification, and to some degree, I would say infantilizing. The gamification aspects of Discord, it's intentionally addictive. And this is the problem, that when something is intentionally addictive, you can't even see it when you're addicted to it. So for me, I found myself feeling badly when I was on Discord. And this has been for months. This is not an isolated incident. No one magic thing happened. I have wanted to cut off the Discord for months. And once you destroy a 12-year-old account on Twitter, destroying something you didn't want anyway is really, really easy. Blue Hills writes, on inquisitive catechumens alongside advice against world orthodoxy and quick interactivity for TOs like the Anzac Inquirer who ended up finding a mission. That's true. And we have to develop more ways to communicate. But one thing that I have learned is that these kind of setups in general will lead to more conflict than not. And I already saw the beginning of that. And, there's probably going to be conflict here. There's probably going to be conflict wherever we go. So ultimately, but the bigger problem is that I didn't want us to deal with conflict and confusion and so on. Those things are all natural, and I wanted us to have the resources. But what I didn't want is for it all to be to help blue-haired communists profit while making us worse. And I believe that we will be better, building other resources, building our own resources. I've mentioned the cafe. A lot of people are on it. I've actually increased bandwidth limits on it, not bandwidth limits, but file size limits. Not because of the PDFs. I totally didn't realize it, but we have the ability to even upload things to the cafe if they're missing. Okay, I was worried because I thought for a moment that it was because of us, the young ones who make a lot of memes and jokes on the Discord. No, that's the part I feel worst about. I know that Discord targets young people. I knew that from the beginning, and it was something that I wanted to see help young people. And I wanted to see, kind of you all get better and become good Orthodox Christians. What I didn't want is for you to become Discord addicts with Orthodox trappings. So no, I'm not done with the young people yet, as you put it. Otherwise, I'd have. What about my kids? What about you? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Well, yeah, I agree. Old style forms are a bit antiquated for the newest generation. Trust me, I know. There are some upgrades that I needed to do. You mentioned using Matrix in the past. I use Matrix now. I've been using it the whole time. I use it for my family, and there's a few friends who mostly left. But yeah, Matrix has its own groups. I have no problem with seeing that happen. I think that would be cool. But again, it's a giant chat room, so we'll see. I mean, all I'm saying is this: because of the nature of Discord, I was already very nervous about it, and its influence on people, and its influence on the users. So, unfortunately, that was a decision I had to make there. I will probably put back the Twitter, and I won't use that either because I don't feel comfortable with it anymore. If somebody wants to create a Discord for true Orthodox people, I'm not going to tell them no. I just don't think the platform itself is healthy. Press F to pay respect to our past life. Well, it's I never look towards the past. The better thing to do is look towards the present and the future. The past is good for learning from, and if we don't do that, then we're never going to have a very good future. James said, "It's over." Wait a second. This is pretty funny. Yeah, I would say that Gene was probably one of the first cases where I saw where I kind of was like, "You can do that," because he actually had a Discord server. I know I was part of it for a short while, and then he said, "This is just taking up too much of my time," and pop. NFTU system. There can't be an NFTU system. I own it. I mean, you could try, but the question is, if you could do NFTU better than me, I would actually feel comfortable letting it go. Yeah, you see, I deleted my Discord too. And I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, but I noticed that I became less effective with the Discord. Everyone else around me in my family noticed it too. So, what are you going to do? Anyway, tonight I am going to be arguing with Elijah Yassi on his channel, or it may be, I'm hoping it can be a double stream. I asked if he could, and he said we're all set. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to stream it here, where we'll be talking about the Immaculate Conception, original sin, and how this all works with Orthodoxy. I know there's been some spicy stuff on the Twitter before I got rid of it. I'm not really going to address that. We'll see how that works out about the original sin, if Pelagianism or Nestorianism is going to come up. Who knows? How do you spell that? How do I spell what? I still have a profile to talk with some bigger names, but I don't believe in owning a realm, aka a portal of time wasting. Yeah, I agree completely, and thanks. Hopefully it'll be interesting. I have no idea. We've never really spoken before. I think we might have been in a debate together. I don't know if it was Elijah in the round table. I'll ask him. But yeah, definitely. Yeah, we don't want that portal. And so anyway, that was all. I just wanted to for those who, and there were a lot of people who were legitimately worried. I guess like if you quit your Discord, people think you're like ready to like, end it all or something. Like that was never in my mind. Like I was like, I did not feel this way. I don't know. People sometimes get emotional, but no, I'm okay. Everything's fine. We're still here. Yeah. Anyway, God willing, this will all be for the best and we'll make something better. So hopefully I see you guys later. I'll be doing the debate tonight at 9:05, and everyone have a great rest of your day. God bless you. And again, Christ is risen.